What's going on, everybody? Three Amigos podcast here. Just Chris, and I don't really ever typically talk about MLB The Show on this channel, even though I've been playing the game since I was like 10 years old. But we got another feature premiere today for MLB The Show 24, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what they're doing anymore. I really don't. The first feature premiere last week was about storylines for the Negro Leagues Part 2. Awesome. Super awesome. I've been wanting Negro Leagues content in the game forever. It's super great that they have this relationship with the Negro Leagues Museum now. And that's super exciting. They started it last year. They're continuing it this year. But earlier this week, they released a 40-second trailer about Derek Jeter storylines, which is like, okay, a little weird that it's happening now because he was on the cover of the game last year, which seems like would have been perfect. I don't know why it's happening now. But sure, whatever. Okay, cool new little feature, right? The thing with storylines is like really it is like a little mini movie, little cutscenes, and then you play a moment, and then you go back to watching cutscenes. Like that's really all it is. For the Negro Leagues, it's exciting because there's a lot about the Negro Leagues that I didn't know. But you know, Derek Jeter was a pretty famous guy from not that long ago. If you know anything about baseball, you probably know most of the crazy, great things he did. So, if you're a Yankee fan, I guess that's cool, to replay his career, even though you literally watched it, probably. But fine. So a lot of us thought, like, okay, cool little trailer, but, hopefully on Thursday we get, like, big gameplay reveal or, just something, maybe a franchise, March to October, updates, Road to the Show, which has been just a dead mode for years now, even though every year they claim that it's the most popular mode in the game. There's no way that's true. Well, today's feature premiere was literally like 45 minutes about them interviewing Derek Jeter and building a fake subway car to record his like cutscene portions of the moments. Dude, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I skipped MLB 22. That was the first MLB The Show that I skipped since I started buying the games back in like 06, 07. And initially it was weird, game comes out, launch day is always crazy, people unlocking things, see all these cool cards. There were some cool new legends. But I just remember watching that, the hype, the build up to that game, the marketing, and feeling like this is not worth paying for. Like, if you have Game Pass, sure, I guess. Although I'm gonna be honest, like, just restarting the grind doesn't necessarily even get me going anymore. But I guess look, if you subtract the $70, like maybe it's manageable. But I skipped the whole game. I never picked it up, even when it was on sale. Just nothing I saw throughout the year made me feel like I was really missing out on anything. And then 23 came out, and one of my favorite players, David Wright, was finally in the game. They got a couple of the steroid guys, Sosa and McGuire, super cool. Um, Still wasn't really seeing a reason to buy the game. It looked exactly the same as MLB 21, which I had gone back and started playing again because you download some saved rosters and all of a sudden it is quite literally the same game, which is just a bad look. But we're on MLB 24 now. The game graphically looks dated. It doesn't look bad. It looks bad in comparison to the fact that it's looked exactly the same for 5 years or so, right? If we're being generous or conservative, it's been 5 years. And, same deal, 70 on PlayStation, free, quote unquote, free if you have Game Pass. This has been the weirdest slash least amount of marketing they have ever done, at least that I can remember. They put out a schedule with the feature premieres a few weeks ago, and in previous years they've listed like what each feature premiere is going to be. And this year they didn't do that. They just said feature premieres. And that was the first point that I was like, that's weird, because you're not really building much hype. You're not telling us like, okay, graphics and presentation on this day, road to the show on this day, Diamond Dynasty, all that stuff. But I thought, again, SDS, in my opinion, has earned the benefit of the doubt. Although I think that's pretty much gone at this point. And there were only 4 feature premieres on the schedule. Also strange, because there's no holiday in here. They're just skipping next Thursday. They haven't said any reason why. They're just skipping it. And the only reason I can think of as to why you would just straight up skip one, as opposed to starting a week later, is that they don't have anything. They don't really have anything new outside of these glorified moments that they've put into the game, which were already in the game last year. We play moments every single year. We play moments, and sometimes they can be fun, but most of the time they feel like a grind. And the Negro League stuff is cool. That doesn't feel like a grind, but we're playing through, guys who were basically current day players like not that long ago. Doesn't really feel like it needs to be something that's like treated as a new addition to the game. Like the Derek Jeter moments, they just don't feel special. I don't personally care how much work went into the presentation. I'm more puzzled as to why this is the area that they are putting their resources. That's what I don't understand. As somebody that grew up on franchise mode, as I'm sure most people that played sports games when they were kids grew up playing franchise mode, I don't know. I mean, from a financial perspective, I get it. The online competitive, like card collecting modes make them the most money. That makes all the sports games the most money. But it's crazy how franchise has been completely abandoned, and Road to the Show, which I don't even play, but at this point, Road to the Show might actually be getting more neglected than franchise mode, because that mode, I watched a video on somebody talking about like the last like several years of Road to the Show. That mode looks like it sucks. Like it looks exactly the same for the last, I don't even know how many years. I stopped playing Road to the Show probably in like MLB 20, because I think I wanted to platinum the game or something. And I don't miss it. It was never that fun, in my opinion. You sign a big contract and there's like nothing for you to spend the money on. Like, I don't know. Elements of it, I just felt like this could use some tweaking, but they never built on it, ever. They never built on it. And the second they connected that to Diamond Dynasty, we should have known it was dead. We should have known Road to the Show, as soon as it got connected to Diamond Dynasty, that mode was gone forever. I have trouble seeing it ever coming back. I think this is part of my issue now. I don't know how they turn this around, because MLB 24 it's looking rough. It's looking like, now look, the casual MLB fan will probably still play it. If you have Game Pass and you're kind of into baseball or whatever. Although I genuinely wonder how many like casual baseball fans actually play the video games, because it's pretty hard to like be good at. I say that as someone who's not very good, who's like gotten better over the years, but the MLB the show is a tough game. It's a tough game. If you're bad, it's not fun. If you are bad at it, it is not fun, and it takes a long time to get better at it. But for the hardcore fans, the people that buy the game every year, the people that don't just, play it on Game Pass for a month and then never play it again, the ones that play it for, 6, 7, 8 months, almost the whole calendar year. I've never seen more people talk about skipping the game, talk about being annoyed at the marketing strategy for the game. And the weirdest thing is that they started out kind of, like on a good note, because there's this whole trip they went to the Dominican Republic to reveal Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Silly me, MLB 24. I thought Manny Ramirez was going to be on the cover. Whatever. They're not on the cover, but he would have been in the fucking trailer where you flew all the way to DR. Anyway, they revealed Vlad Jr. Okay, whatever. The cover doesn't really matter. Most people don't buy the physical copy anyway. And then that's like where the budget went. It went to that, and it went to the Derek Jeter storylines where they showed a portion of behind the scenes where they built a fake subway car. You can't make this up. I'm like watching part of this feature premiere, and I'm just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? This is where the money went. I thought, silly me. I thought we were going to use this money to get Barry Bonds in the game. We're building fake subway cars so Derek Jeter could talk about how he, hit a home run in the '90s. I don't get it. I am essentially only making this video because I need to vent. I don't see people venting about it in video form, and I just am so disappointed, dude. As somebody that grew up playing this game and grew up, SDS was the GOAT, and they were the best sports game developers, super generous, like always listening to the community. A lot of people that work for SDS now were originally part of the MLB community, like playing the game. And it's never felt like they have cared less, like they have been any more tone deaf than these last few years. And this, it really is the ultimate example, because we don't have another feature premiere for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. The next time a feature premiere comes out is 1 week before the game launches. And to get into something else that's been really strange is like no gameplay trailer. Not a single gameplay trailer for this game. They did a 40-second thing for the Negro Leagues. They did a 40-second thing for Derek Jeter. No sizzle reel. There's been no actual premiere trailer for this game, which is super strange. But on top of that, go to their Twitter account. Every day is a scheduled tweet or two going up telling people to pre-order the game. I don't, hands in the air, right? I don't know for sure. If they did this same thing last year, they very well might have. But last year, we had a gameplay trailer like the first week of February. It's not great that people are saying like, oh, guess we're getting a roster update. Guess it's the same game as last year. And you don't even release a trailer to attempt to dispel a tiny bit of that notion. To show like, hey, actually, like we added something. Something in the game modes that you actually will play. Like, even as great as the Negro League storyline stuff is, if you completed it in MLB 23, you get a trophy. 5% of the people that played the game got that trophy. 5%. It has nothing to do with not focusing on the Negro League content. It's you're focusing on a mode that nobody plays. This is mind-boggling. If you're gonna just take a shit on franchise mode every year, at least people play franchise mode. At least there are YouTubers that actively build their entire channel around franchise mode. I didn't see anyone building their channel around storylines. It's a cool thing that's being done, but I'm sorry, it's not the content that we actually want. And there are ways to incorporate it in a way where it's a fun addition. But if you're touting it as the addition, literally 2 of the 4 feature premieres have been storylines. That's it, guys. I don't know what else to say. That's what they're adding. That's the difference this year. An extra storylines mode. If you like Negro Leagues, there's a new Negro League storyline, and now there's a Derek Jeter one. I guess if you really like Derek Jeter. Because if you don't like Derek Jeter, I see even less people completing this one, if there even is a trophy associated with it. It's so bizarre. It's such a shame. I'm skipping the game. I mean, I think I was pretty much there after the first feature premiere. I just don't see the point. They're still stuck on making the game for PS4 and Xbox One, which again doesn't help. I don't want to say that's the only reason that this franchise has been so stuck, but it's really feeling like you either got to split the dev teams up and the next gen whatever version is totally different, team making it. It's clearly that's not the case. It's clearly they're making the old version and they're porting it onto next gen, bumping up the frame rate. Um, and that's it. And it's a bummer. I know there's plenty of people still excited about the game. They get it every year regardless. But, and, look, here's hoping MLB 25, which I have this weird feeling they are purposefully tanking this year because, they're going to do a whole 25th anniversary, 25 years of MLB The Show. I don't know, some bullshit, some marketing bullshit to try to hype it up. Uh, which is like also a weird thing companies do sometimes when they tank one thing so that the next time they bring it out, you're like, oh my God, look at all this stuff they added. And then like you totally forget 12 months ago, they completely hosed you and took your money for the same version, but whatever. It's disappointing. If you're still hyped for the game, surely you have stopped listening by now because it's just been me shitting all over MLB 24, which look, I picked up MLB 23 during the All-Star break last year, so like in July, so I skipped the first 4 months, and I enjoyed it. Like, having had a year and a half off, I did enjoy the game, but I just can't see myself picking it up again this year when it is essentially year to year the same thing. At least I had taken a year off, a year and a half off, so it felt a little bit more new. This, I can't see any way that this feels new at all. It'd probably be the same bullshit. There's some legends that were in the game in 23 that are just gone. No mention of why. They're just not in the game anymore. Which is awesome. Great. That's great. And, I guess we'll see what happens. I don't want to say that they can't save this at this point, but I think we got to call it. I think it's over. If you're still convinced to get the game, you're probably always going to get it. But I think if you've been following this media cycle so far for MLB 24, it's tough to get to this point and still be invested in, excited to spend your money on the game again this year and start the whole grind over. And if anyone on finds our channel actually cares about MLB, feel free to let me know what you're thinking. But I'm really down on it this year, and maybe we'll see what happens with MLB 25.